Hello and welcome to On the Campaign Trail, TVJ's look at all the happenings leading up to the highly anticipated general election. Coming up in tonight's show, we delve in the history of calling an election, what makes a good member of parliament, and our constituency profiles continue. We'll have all that and more right after this break. Welcome back to On the Campaign Trail. I'm your host, Jamila Maitland. Anticipation is building over the Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, or when he'll announce the date for the general election. But your guess is just as good as mine. Let's take a look at the history of where Prime Ministers have called it.
Sunday, January 31, 2016. To loud cheers by PNP supporters in Halfway Tree, then Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller announced the election date.
Calling for elections for a long time now. Them get it now, and them go and get a whipping at the polls, at the polls, at the polls. General elections will be held on the 25th day of February 2016.
The Jamaica Labour Party won that year, and so in 2020, JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness got to call it. The election date was announced in Garden House on August 11.
The date fixed for the taking of the polls, that is the general elections for the year 2020, is therefore Thursday, September the 3rd, 2020.
Dr. Holness gets to call it again, and there's great anticipation that the announcement will be made at a mass rally in Halfway Tree. For years, Halfway Tree has been the location of choice for the grand announcement, arguably made popular by former Prime Minister and President of the PNP, PJ Patterson. It's where he called it in 1993, then again in 1997 and 2002. Former Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller would continue the trend in 2007, but in 2011, Dr. Holness announced the election date at a mass rally in Mandeville, Manchester. This would be the second time a date was announced outside of Kingston. In 1980, former Prime Minister Michael Manley made the revelation at a PNP rally in Charles Square, Montego Bay, St. James. But the PNP would lose the elections that year after being in power from 1972. And in 1980, Edward Seaga became Prime Minister for the first time.
Therefore, I, Floizel Augustus Glasspool, Order of the Nation, Commander of the Order of Distinction, Governor General, being a member of the House of Representatives, to be the Prime Minister.
In the past, former prime ministers used other means to communicate the date for an election. Back in 1962, for example, Premier Norman Manley announced that Jamaica's first general election under independence would be held on Tuesday, April 10 that year. The announcement was made to the press on February 11, but it came with a midnight embargo set to align with London time. In 1983, former Prime Minister Edward Seaga announced a snap election, which was also published to the media. However a Prime Minister decides to announce the election date, it's typically followed by a period of intense campaigning right through the eve of Decision Day. Stevie and Winter for On the Campaign Trail.
With every election cycle, there's a raging debate about who people really vote for, a member of parliament, or is the vote more of a reflection of their support for a party leader? So far on the campaign, we've been hearing on both sides supporters being encouraged to vote to ensure that their party's leader's chances of becoming the next prime minister. Now, arguably, this type of focus could result in underperforming MPs being elected and re-elected. And so, we took to the streets to ask people, what makes a good MP?
Someone that just listens to the people and does his or her best to address the concerns of the people.
A good MP have to care for people. Uncle when people dead, government care for them. Them don't know the pressure where the people them bear, and them don't know the stress where the people them bear. More when election come round, them just come and say them want bear for it. That is not right.
A good MP is somebody who come out, have dialogue with the people, listen to the people them concerned, and bring it forth and represent the people. A lot of the MPs them nowadays, them not have no say in a parliament.
The views of Jamaicans when asked what makes a good member of parliament. MPs are elected to serve the interest of their constituents and by extension the public. But some citizens feel that they have no way of judging the performance of MPs, and so they make their own list.
A good MP run the neighbor with the right way. And me no want them giving them money for issue out for nobody vote for them. I want them vote to them for them whole in heart, you understand? And more how them treat the people. So how them treat the people and build up nice facility in the neighborhood. So no more gunman and them look at things as some football thing can keep in the neighborhood so the country can run more better.
MP doesn't turn up as we want them to. And when we elect somebody, we elect them to do what they are elected for, and sometimes they fail. I don't want to just see my MP on the TV. I want to see my MP in my community.
But according to MP for West Central St. Catherine, Dr. Christopher Tufton, the list can be realistic as much as it is superficial.
There is an official role as a member of parliament, written in law, and there's an unofficial role.
Dr. Tufton says MPs have a duty to provide or lobby for the improvement of existing basic amenities for citizens.
There's an expectation, and rightfully so, that people should have road, water, security, health. I think those are basic requirements of government, and we really have to not feel any way about those kinds of requests, because people are entitled to that. They elect a government, they pay taxes. So those to me are almost natural.
For General Secretary of the People's National Party, Dr. Dayton Campbell, the ability to perform is somewhat hinged on whether your party is in government.
If your government is not in place, it's almost impossible to do it. If your seat is one that they're targeting, they're going to sabotage you, so they're going to withhold the resources for you to look bad so that they can win, right? And I don't think that serves the people well. I don't believe so. So I think that sufficient funding should be there, that the elected official should be able to make representation, and through the arms of government should be able to implement it.
And so the hopes that were campaigned on become empty promises. But for political commentator Damian Gordon, members of parliament continue to fuel what he describes as the God complex.
MPs sell themselves as, having the answers to all the problems people face. They promise people any and everything under the sun. So they create this unhealthy expectation among voters, because in order for them to win, they think that they have to overpromise. But they cannot reasonably deliver based on the limited resources that they will have access to when they're members of parliament, especially those who are backbenchers.
He says the public needs the job description for MPs. Back in May 2023, when the government increased the salaries of politicians by over 100%, and in the case of the Prime Minister, 200%, there was outrage.
We want justice!
The Prime Minister tabled the job description for parliamentarians a month later. Fast forward to 2025, the document is finalized. It was approved in the lower house in June, but it's not available to the public. But with the upcoming election, the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMP, is questioning the rationale. What's more concerning is the absence of an impeachment clause for non-performing MPs.
If you don't see your MP since the day he voted you in, that is a wrong I am going to correct. And therefore I'm going to give you an impeachment clause, yeah? If you find that your MP is not showing up in the House, which is part of the representation, not just in the constituency, and he's only coming 36% of the time, are you not satisfied? That is a wrong I am going to correct. Mr. Prime Minister said, I'm going to give you an impeachment clause, yes? If you have a member of parliament who has behaved badly, not committed a crime, but is not a behavior that you think is worthy of a parliamentarian, I am going to correct that wrong. I'm going to put you in a position, because you are the employer We are the employees. And he said, if you put me in the office, I will do it in 3 months.
3 months have turned into 9 years. And so, the public continues to use a rubric that can either help or hurt the MPs.
Time now for a break. On the campaign trail, we'll be right back. Welcome back to On the Campaign Trail. As both political parties continue to make their case for your vote, we've been asking citizens, have you decided?
We're in the streets gauging the views of the citizens as the country prepares to head to the polls. I'm Antonia Atkinson for On the Campaign Trail. Come along. Have you ever voted before?
Yes.
Are you voting this year?
Not sure as yet.
You know so much nice about I can plug in on my phone. And that's why I rate Andrew. And that's why I rate him. Because a good Prime Minister of Jamaica, you understand? Yeah, AC in the bus, them have all first aid kit up there, so.
I don't think it's important, because whether or not I still at work, I still maintain my family, but I like labor right. The labor right on my part.
PMP to the world, one comrade.
Okay. What are some issues that concern you as a citizen?
Everything. Bus crisis, financial crisis, housing crisis, a lot.
I think voting can fix my issues or the issues that we have, because for years I say voting and I see the issues them fixing, they're getting worse and worse. So bad roads. Sometimes some we even have no water, same. We have places where no water is, same way. You have places where we have no electricity, same way.
Hey, comment now, bro. See nobody in that town? Look, why you count how much people are passing here, so, since today here? Still can't see nobody until that Friday.
We have garbage issue, we have water issue, we have road issues, and we have tax issues. You understand what I say? Because poor people have pay a bag of tax.
Some road issues in and around the corporate area, because I do business downtown, and in Portmore there are some roads that needs fixing really bad.
Impasse here already, I don't know if they sell. And that's yeah, look, still a look. That alone will tell you.
Some of we out school, we do subjects, we can't go to college, because you know, we can't take out no student loan and all them something. We have to just sit down a yard, we can't get no work.
I see him wait on. When them election come, they come patch up this and patch up this. And them gone, you know, see them again till election. Or something happen, you see them show up and them gone. Them not really do nothing.
Garbage, summer program, youth center, roads, all those things.
The health center, they need drivers like for the ambulance and the other vehicles. So I saw them doing surveys for who wants to drive, like learners and license, and making it available for them to get it.
Well, there you have it. I'm Antonia Atkinson for On the Campaign Trail.
That's it for On the Campaign Trail. I'm Jamila Maitland. Pleasant viewing.